Okay, so what I want to talk about today is something that you've probably seen a few times, and we're going to talk about multiplying binomials. So, a binomial, remember, is a two-termed polynomial, and what we need to do for this is it's quite simple. There's a couple ways to do it. I'm going to show you all the ways at the same time, and then hopefully it makes sense when you do your guides. I just would tell you to choose a way that you like best. So, looking at your notes, it has use a distributive property, use a table, and use FOIL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it all three ways, and then you can do the guidance when I'm done doing it all the three different ways. I'm going to do all three ways um, for all three problems, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about what we mean by distributive property. If you remember when they said distributive property means the only operation you're going to do is multiplication. That's the only operation that you're going to do is multiplication. So this kind of might not make a whole lot of sense, but maybe it will, and I'll show you all three. So check it out. Here we go. So 2x plus 4 times 3x minus 7. Well, with that, that's like saying this. I'm going to say, let me get this going here. Let's see. That is going to be in the marker. Good. So it's 2x, and I'm going to multiply it by 3x minus 7. Then I'm going to take the positive 4, and I'm going to multiply it by 3x minus 7. So with this, I'm going to do that guy right there, and 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And then 2x times negative 7 is a negative 14x. And then plus 4 times 3x is 12x. And 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And so then now I can bring some stuff together. I get 6x squared minus 2x minus 28. That's using the distributive property. Another way you can do this, doing the same idea, another way you can do this is by taking and doing what's called, like, you've seen this kind of before. If I make like a big giant table like this and think of area, this is a 2x plus 4 box rectangle, and then this rectangle is a 3x minus 7. And think of like doing it like a think of doing it like a multiplication, like a area problem. 3x times 2x, well, that's 6x squared, right? Let me change the color of this. Change to red. So that's 6x squared, right? And then 3x times 4, well, that's 12x. And then negative 7 times 2, well, that's negative 14x. And negative 7 times positive 4, well, that's negative 28. And so when you look at this, when you look at that, what you can do now is you can combine your stuff. So you got 6x squared. These guys always combine. So negative 14 and negative 14 and positive 12x is negative 2x, and then the negative 28. That's that way. Then there's one other way you can do this, which is called FOIL. So if you do 2x plus 4 and you're multiplying it by 3x minus 7, all right, you do FOIL. So you do this guy, 2x times 3x, that's your 6x squared. Then you do, that's the first outside, inside, last. Then you do 4 times negative 7, that's your negative 28. Then you do this guy right here, 4 times 3x, which is positive 12x. And then you do 2x times negative 7, which is negative 14x. And then all of these guys can come together, and you can make 6x squared minus 2x minus 28. You see how that works? All right, let's go ahead and do another one the same way. Let's do this. Simpler form of that. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like the extended distributive property way too much. So my favorite way, and I'm going to demonstrate it just to get through this, is the x minus 3, like that, going with the 4x minus 5. So 4x times x, that's 4x squared. 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, right? So then this comes out to be 4x squared minus 17x minus 15. Now, if you did it by FOIL, it would be like this. If you did it by FOIL, it would be x minus 3 times 4x minus 5. You would go x times 4x, there's your 4x squared. And then you can go ahead and do negative 3 times negative, that's supposed to be a plus 15. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a plus 15, right? And then you could do the negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. And then you can do x times negative 5 is the negative 5x. And so then this all works out to be 4x squared minus 17x plus 15. So I like those ways pretty much the same. Here's another one. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into FOIL. 5x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. I'm going to do 5x times 2x, that's 10x squared. I'm going to do negative 3 times positive 1, that's negative 3. Negative 3 times 2x, that's negative 6x. 5x times 1, that's positive 5x. So then this becomes 10x squared minus x minus 3. Makes sense? Or I can do it as 5x minus 3 is the top of my rectangle, and then 2x plus 1 is my other part of my rectangle, and then I do this. This makes my 10x squared. 2x and negative 3 is negative 6x. 1 and 5x is 5x. 1 and negative 3 make negative 3. And it comes out to be the same. I like this way better. This is my favorite way. I didn't do the extended distributive property part because, well, I'm not a big fan of it. You can do it. You saw that one example that I did, and that's totally fine if you want to do that. But if you don't want to do that, don't worry too much about it. So I went through those 3 examples. Why don't you pause the video for a few minutes, do the got it's for those guys, and I'll see you back here in about 3, maybe 4 minutes. All right, check this one out. This says a cylinder has a diameter of a cylinder has a dimension shown in the diagram. Which polynomial in standard form best describes the total surface area of the cylinder? Oh, wow, that's crazy. So surface area, if I were to cut this cylinder out, it would look like circle, 2 circles like that, and then you actually have a rectangle. Now, the thing about this is has a radius of x plus 1, right? So the area is going to be pi r squared. So realistically, we have 2 of those. So if you think about it, it's 2 areas plus, right, this guy. Now this guy has a height of x plus 4, but going from here to here is like unraveling this can. So this is actually like 2 pi r. So the surface area is 2a plus 2 pi r times my height. So I'm going to fill in that information. The area is going to be, the area of that is going to be 2 times x plus 1 squared times the pi plus 2 pi times the x plus 1 times the x plus 4, if that makes sense, right? So then how does this work out? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take out that, I'm going to take out that 2 pi. I think I see a 2 pi here plus 2 pi and it's x plus 1 squared plus a 2 pi times an x plus 1 times an x plus 4. So how this works is this is actually like 2 pi, and then x plus 1 squared is like x plus 1 times x plus 1, and then that's plus another 2 pi, and then it's x plus 1 times x plus 4, right? So when you do that, just to kind of make it a little easier, I'm going to leave this 2 pi right here for now. And then this guy right here is x squared. That guy right there is positive 1. This is plus 1x. That is plus 1x, right? And then going here, plus 2 pi. And I'm going to do this. X times x is x squared. 1 times 4 is 4. And then there's a 1x. And there's a 4x. Polishing this up, I get 2 pi. And then that's x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus 2 pi. And that's an x squared plus 5x plus 4, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute that 2 pi through. So now we got 2 pi x squared plus 4 pi x plus 2 pi. Distribute that 2 pi plus 2 pi x squared plus 10 pi x plus 8 pi. Now I'm going to combine all my like terms. I have a 4 pi x squared because of those guys right there. I have 4 pi x and 10 pi x. That's 14 pi x, right? And then I got plus 10 pi. So which one of those fits that criteria? It looks like it's option, this looks like option C, doesn't it? So option C is that one. Why don't you pause the video and do the got it for that one. So this one is actually you're multiplying a trinomial by a binomial. So what I want to do here is I actually want to show you how I would do this. I would do this like the rectangle. I'd say it's a 2x minus 7 rectangle by a 3x squared plus x minus 5 rectangle, right? And do it like that. So 2x times 3x is 6x cubed. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times the negative 5 is negative 10x. And negative 7 times 3x is negative 21x squared. And negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And negative 7 times negative 5, well, that's a positive 35. Now, what's unique is these guys are like terms, and these guys are like terms. So it ends up being 6x cubed minus 19x squared minus 17x plus 35. Pretty easy. That's just using what I've showed you. And so go ahead and pause the video, do the got it. And now let's talk about this. Do you know the FOIL method? I think you do. Binomial, that's two terms, right? Substitution means to plug in. And table of products, that's the thing that looks like this. Do you remember that? Cool. Rate yourself where you're at. And I will see you in class tomorrow. And may the force be with you.